You are Locked On Jets POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports New York on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Jets have gone 8 quarters without scoring a touchdown for the second straight week. The defense allowed just 13 points, but unfortunately, it was the 7th consecutive loss for the New York Jets, who remain the lone winless team in the NFL. Welcome into the Jets Postcast, right here on the Locked On Jets YouTube channel, the Locked On Jets podcast feed. I'm your Postcast host, Chris Schubert, here with you to talk all things New York Jets, as this team is continuing to find new ways to lose, continuing their offensive woes. A lot for us to get into today on the show. There was a quarterback change. The defense played great once again. Where can this offense go? At the end of the day, it is an 0-7 New York Jets team. Aaron Glenn still searching for that first victory. The Jets still searching for answers on the offensive side of the ball. That is where we will start today's postcast, because at halftime, there was a quarterback change.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Now, I think perhaps I'm going to have a somewhat unique opinion on the quarterback change that the Jets made here at halftime, benching Justin Fields and putting in Tyrod Taylor. No, I'm not going to share the opinion that the Jets made a mistake, but I do see a lot of people kind of dunking on Aaron Glenn, clowning on Aaron Glenn, and pointing out that he said it was a ridiculous question last week to question whether or not the Jets needed to make a quarterback change last week, questioning whether or not they needed to make a quarterback change going into this week. And here we are 2 quarters into today's game, and they do make that change here at halftime. And I saw a lot of people regurgitate that question that was asked, I believe it was by Brian Costello, of Aaron Glenn after the game and then later on in the week. And I don't want to do that. What I want to do here is I want to praise Aaron Glenn for making the right decision, because going to Tyrod Taylor may not have changed the result of this game. The Jets offense is completely broken, and I don't know where they're going to go from here. But there was an opportunity in this game very quickly after what happened last week against Denver for Aaron Glenn, a first-year head coach in a massive media market. All eyeballs are on them. They're the only team in football that doesn't have a win. He was given a second opportunity to show that he has grown, to show that he has evolved, to show that he has learned on the job. As a first-year head coach, a lot of speed bumps, a lot of growing pains. You need to show progress. You need to show that you have learned from past mistakes. Not sitting down Justin Fields in that game last week against Denver probably cost the Jets the football game. It was a mistake, a blunder by Aaron Glenn. He did not make that same blunder again. So in that regard, you tip of the cap for Aaron Glenn, because you're seeing the progress from he's not stubborn. You're not seeing stubbornness from a first-year head coach. You pair stubbornness with a team that's 0-7, that is a recipe for disaster. That is a recipe for a locker room to grow very uninterested in what message the coach is trying to sell. A fan base growing uninterested in the message and the culture that the coach is trying to sell. You saw a coach that was not too stubborn, that wasn't super proud of what he believed in, who they thought their quarterback was going to be going into the season. And I was texting with buddies. A lot of us thought that Fields was going to be trotted out there in the second half. Aaron Glenn understood the moment. He put Tyrod Taylor in the game. Now, it didn't change anything. Tyrod came in. They threw the ball a bunch. They abandoned the running game. He threw 2 picks. He got sacked 3 times as well. It didn't change anything. Didn't change the result of this game. The offense for the New York Jets is completely broken. Missed Garrett Wilson today in general. We'll talk about that when we get to the offense a little bit later on here in the show. But the right decision, Aaron Glenn learned from the mistake that he made last week against Denver, and that is growth. There's no moral victories in 0-7. This team's 0-7. They're the worst team in football, worst quarterback room in football, probably one of the worst offenses in football when you look at it statistically. I don't know where they go from here, but you don't have a coach that is stubborn and is doing it his way or the highway, even though they're 0-7. He made the right decision today and made the change. And unfortunately, you have a defense that deserved better. And watching this, doesn't it feel like you're watching the Zach Wilson era New York Jets, where the defense is playing their tail off? The defense is flying around, making plays all over the place, getting off the field when they need to get off the field, giving the offense chance after chance after chance to get into this game. In the fourth quarter, the Jets were able to get the ball back, doing nothing the entirety of the game on offense. They were able to get the ball back where a touchdown would have tied the game. They could do nothing offensively, couldn't move the ball anywhere, but they had the ball with a chance to tie the game. Why? Because the defense played lights out, and they got guys moving in and out. Sauce Gardner out of this game a couple of times, ultimately left the game with a concussion. They got guys moving all over the place. Brownlee's playing well. Brandon Stevens is playing better as of late. Last couple of games have been really good. Jamien Sherwood had a nice couple of plays in this game. They're playing good, solid, fundamental defense. And yeah, they give up a touchdown there at the end of the first half. You can't expect this Jets defense to pitch a shutout. 2 straight weeks, you allow 13 points, 26 points over the last 2 weeks that your defense has allowed. You're 0-2. It's unacceptable. Unacceptable for the Jets to go these last 2 games with the defense playing the best they've played this season. People ready to run Steve Wilkes out of town. People ready to run certain members of this defense out of town. They have played their best 2 games of the season each of the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it's Denver. Yeah, it's Carolina. You're not playing the top offenses, but you did your job. A defense that allows 13 points in today's NFL, where the rules are designed for points. They're designed for offense. For you, for 2 straight weeks, to put those performances on tape and to have no wins to show for it, the defense deserved better. And how many times did we say that when Zach Wilson was under center for the New York Jets? Just feels like we are reliving a couple of years ago here. You don't have a quarterback room that is able to do anything offensively. Your offense is completely lost. Your defense is doing everything in their power. During the broadcast, Mark Schlereth mentioned it. Defense basically had to score the touchdown if the Jets were going to get back into this game. 8 straight quarters without a touchdown on offense, just putting so much pressure on the defense. And you can't ask for a better performance than what they gave you here today. And these are the 2 best performances you've seen this season. They may be the 2 best performances you get all year, and you wasted them. Defense deserved so much better in this game. They got to Bryce Young once, really did a good job out in space making some plays. Did a good job against the running game early in the game to keep things close. But at the end of the day, the offense is the story in this one. The defense deserved better. And with some of the teams coming up on the calendar for the Jets, they got the Bengals, Ravens, Patriots, some teams that can really move the ball offensively, can put up points. You just worry if the Jets wasted their 2 best chances for their defense to put up some masterclasses and for it to turn into victories. The Jets did not get that victory here today, now 0-7 on the season. We'll talk about where the offense goes from here. Breece Hall, no Garrett Wilson, certainly saw on display the lack of depth that the Jets have in the wide receiver room, what they're going to do at the quarterback position. We will get to all of it here on the other side. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier. But now the average company is buried by hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS, that's SAD. Software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling, the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance, all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mess of disconnected tools with one system designed to give leaders clarity, speed, and control. By uniting your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. It's seriously simple to use and gives companies one source of truth for their people, data, and everything they touch. Whether you want to run your entire HR, IT, and finance operations as one, or just fill the gaps in your software stack, Rippling can do it all. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnfl. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnfl. That's rippling.com/lockedonnfl for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. This episode brought to you by PrizePicks. Every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. Playing PrizePicks, such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You just pick more or less on player projections, Josh Allen passing yards, Saquon Barkley rushing for a touchdown, and you are in the game. You can make your lineup in under a minute, super quick. My favorite part, PrizePicks just added stacks. So if I want to ride with a player, I can select their pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns all in one lineup. Download the PrizePicks apps today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineup after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride with more IISH top safety picks and awards than anyone else. From footwork to breath work, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. Like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Back here, Locked On Jets postcast, Locked On Jets YouTube channel, the Locked On Jets podcast feed. Chris Schubert here with you. I think this is the fourth postcast we've done here this season, so probably many of you new to us here listening, either on YouTube, watching us on YouTube, or listening to us in the podcast feed. Don't worry, none of your regularly scheduled programming with John is interrupted. This is just your place to hang out the moment the game is over. Instant reaction, your place to vent, and it's been a lot of venting, a lot of therapy here through the first 7 games of the season for the New York Jets. And a lot of it has to do with an offense that just feels incredibly lost right now. They don't know where to go. They made the right decision, changed quarterbacks at halftime. And yes, Tyrod made some quicker decisions, right? Tyrod got the ball out quicker. Tyrod was able to feed wide receivers. Through 2 picks, though, decision-making wasn't the best. The second pick more so than the first pick. First pick, just a great play. Second interception, I don't know what he sees there. Josh Reynolds running up the sideline. JC Horn has inside leverage. It's one of the best corners in the game. He just turns. That's easy. Tyrod goes 10 of 22, 126 yards to 2 interceptions, gets sacked 3 times. They abandon the run when he comes into the game. And it's not like they're down 3 scores and they need to throw their way back. It's 13-3. Defense is keeping them around. They abandon the run game. Breece Hall only got 11 touches on the ground for 38 yards. In total as a team, 20 carries for 81 yards. We know. There's one thing we know about this Jets team. Those rushing numbers are not going to lead to a lot of victories. We know how well this team needs to run the football for everything of their offense to work. And if Breece Hall's only getting 3.5 yards a carry, if Isaiah Davis is only going to get the ball twice, if you're not going to be able to run the ball for more than 4.1 yards per carry, this Jets offense isn't good enough to be able to score points and stay in games, especially when you don't have Garrett Wilson like they did today. And boy, were the Jets exposed for their lack of effort in the offseason to add in a reliable, trustworthy, bona fide wide receiver 2 to this team, because they did not have Garrett Wilson today, and you just didn't know who was going to step up for this team. Tyler Johnson, 3 catches for 60 yards. He had a nice day. Mason Taylor, 3 catches for 31 yards. Mason Taylor's turning into a nice player for this Jets team. Feels like they hit a home run with that pick in the second round. Feel like they have an option there in the tight end department. Josh Reynolds, 3 catches on 9 targets. Allen Lazard, 2 catches on 3 targets. Breece Hall actually got targets this week. No targets last week, 3 this week. Caught 2 of them. There's just nobody that instills fear in the opposing defense, and it was just super easy for Carolina here against this Jets team. And I honestly liked, when Fields was in the game, I liked some of the stuff that we saw. Deep shots to Arian Smith. They found the pages of the playbook that were quick game, screenplays. I wish they would have them with Garrett Wilson on the field. I wish they would have gotten more of them to Breece Hall, and maybe if they do make a switch to Tyrod permanently, they're able to utilize more of that playbook and get themselves into a flow. There's just no flow. There is no rhythm to this offense right now. And I don't know where they go from here. You know what Justin Fields is and isn't right now. Right now, he cannot run the offense that the Jets want him to run. For 2 straight games now. 2 straight games. You want to back it up to the Cowboys game. Justin Fields is not an NFL starting quarterback with the way the Jets need him to play the position right now. Now, with Tyrod, you know what he is. He's a veteran that's just going to get the ball out. You're going to get the mistakes like he did today with the 2 interceptions. But what is the ceiling for this offense? What is the floor for this offense? That's the question. With or without Garrett Wilson, the 2 quarterbacks that you've seen play so far this season, it's been wholly unimpressive. And I don't know where they go from here. There is no magic savior on this team. You went to Tyrod. I was unimpressed today. That didn't seem like a guy that's all of a sudden named the starter next week when they go to Cincinnati and things are fine. Things are okay. The offense finds its rhythm. It builds some positive momentum. Garrett Wilson comes back. They're fine. They get the ball to Tyler Johnson more. Mason Taylor has a big game. They find the running game. It doesn't feel like they just need Tyrod Taylor under center to fix everything that's going wrong offensively. They just feel like 7 games into the season, they have no flow. They're still trying to find themselves in their system. And you can understand, first-time play caller, first-year head coach. There's growing pains. We would be willing to grant those things if we were seeing progress. Offensively, we have not seen progress through the first 7 games this season. The stuff to keep an eye on, what this team does at the quarterback position this week going into Cincinnati, updates on Sauce Gardner with his concussion. They're going to need Brownlee to step up. They're going to need Stevens to step up if Sauce does need to miss some time. I thought both of those guys played really well today. Brownlee's been a great addition to this team. Great in-season move by this Jets front office to add a corner to that room. But the quarterback decision, the update on Sauce in the injury, and just how Aaron Glenn chooses to handle now being 0-7, because the Jets are the only team in football that doesn't have a win. You look at their schedule coming up. You look at the way this team is playing offensively. You just don't see it. Now, they played well enough against Denver defensively last week. They played well enough defensively against Carolina this week. They have not played well enough offensively really in the last 4 games. I know what the scores look like. They haven't played great offensively in 4 weeks. So they've got to find it. And with the Bengals, with the Browns, the Patriots, the Ravens, the Falcons, the next 5 teams up, you look at the schedule for the New York Jets and you are staring a team that could be 0-10, 0-11 here pretty quickly. And I don't know what happens if that is the situation the Jets find themselves in. Because now I think they're in the middle of quarterback controversy. The quarterback change didn't do anything today. Tyrod didn't spark anything offensively. They abandoned the running game. They tried to throw their way back into it, and it was 2 mistakes that stopped the Jets from being able to score in this game. And all they needed was 1 touchdown. 1 touchdown. And they could have won the game because they could have gone for 2. But 1 touchdown ties the game. They're in overtime. They couldn't do that once today. 8 straight quarters without a touchdown for the New York Jets. And that's really it. The defense played great. The offense didn't. It's been the story of the New York Jets season here so far. And the message is starting to get lost, I think, for a lot of people, myself included. You can't keep talking about the good things that you're doing on defense, the good things you're doing on special teams, if you're not seeing the improvement across the board and you're not watching a team that you feel like has a chance to win a football game. And right now, the Jets are a team that you don't feel like they have a chance to win any football game that they step on the field for, even with the defense playing the way that it did the last 2 weeks. That's going to do it for us here on the Jets Postcast here live on the Locked On Jets YouTube channel. You can listen to us back in the Locked On Jets podcast feed. We are back again next week. It is the Cincinnati Bengals, a road contest for the Jets on the road in Cincinnati, as they will take on Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals, who looked good last week, have extra time to prepare, scored 30 points last week. So a test for this defense for the Jets after what they've done the last 2 weeks, and a Jets team that is still searching for answers. Will they find them, or will there be more struggles coming for the New York Jets? We will have to wait and find out. Have a good one, Jets fans.